there's so much there's so many important things you need to learn for your 20s to be prepared for success and to be able to live the life that you deserve to live. If you're serious about personal improvement and you're serious about succeeding with women and getting in shape and business ownership and all these different things that are going to add value to your life, you really need to be prepared. Okay. And when I was 19, I was not prepared at all. I was lazy, I was undisciplined, I was depressed, and I had no father, I had no mentor, I had no help. My family didn't understand me. I was completely lost. And not only that, I didn't have any concept of what the real world looked like. I couldn't have told you how a real estate agent made money, or the difference between sales and marketing, or what types of jobs were available to me. I was in university, I was failing out, I was taking philosophy because that's what I was interested in, but obviously philosophy has no use in the real world, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So I was medicating with weed and alcohol and porn and really had no direction. What I did have, though, was what I've always had, which is a strong will. And I knew that I needed to make a change, but I didn't know how to go about doing it. So I didn't have, this was back when the internet was, in its infancy. I didn't have personal development websites. I didn't have, blogs. I didn't have the millions of books that are available on Kindle down to every micro niche. And the self-help stuff that I had was, generic Tony Robbins stuff, which is just did not cover all the bases. And I made so many bad decisions, so many unnecessary mistakes, started so many businesses that just weren't even viable from the start, looking back on it. And eventually, I established myself. I got successful in both as a prop trader and as a salesman, and I got the apartment, and I got the suits, and I got the girls, and I got all these different things that, the so-called successful man's supposed to have. But that still wasn't enough, and I still didn't feel like I had my life's mission. And it wasn't until I was close to turning 30 that I was able to reflect on the decade and reflect on all that I learned. And I remember wishing that I had someone who was there to guide me through it. And I remember thinking that I could have been so much farther ahead, and I could have saved myself so many mistakes and so much pain, and could have done so much more if I'd had that guidance. And it was in that moment, in that instant, that my mission, revolutionary lifestyle design, crystallized itself. I realized there must have been millions of guys like me without a father or without direction, or who are going through some difficult things. And I said to myself, I'm not going to be able to rewrite my own history, but I'm going to be able to help other guys succeed and live the life that they want to and avoid the mistakes that I made. I eventually, got RLD going and got it off the ground, and bankrolled a ton of cash from sales and moved out to Thailand. And now I get to do this every day. And, it was like the final piece of my life came together. But it took me too long. It took me well into my 30s. And what I want to do in this article, in this video, in this podcast, is show you the way to hit it out of the park from day one, to start with success, to get everything right, to get you past those obstacles so that you don't even have to go through them, to take maybe 5-10 years off your learning curve, take the pain and going broke and debt and business failure and heartbreak and all these different things. I want to eliminate that for you, and I want you to be your 20s to be smooth sailing. I want you to be able to come in, and I'm getting you right now. If you're 19, 18, 19, 20 and you're watching this, I really hope you take this stuff to heart, okay? Because this is what I've learned over the last decade and a half, and I wish there was someone when I was 20 who would show me this kind of stuff. And what I want you to do when you're internalizing this stuff, okay, the article is about 5,000 words long. So if you really want to get into depth, make sure you read the article. But while you're internalizing this stuff, I want you to imagine that you're your 34-year-old self. Okay, imagine that you're in my position, you're about to turn 34, and you have a shot to do it all over again. Okay, to do it all over again and not to make the same mistakes twice. Because I would kill for that shot. I would kill to do it all over again and to do it right the first time. Okay, I want you to picture that from that perspective because it's such an opportunity. And I want you to avoid these mistakes because every mistake that you make in your youth, you pay for with compound interest in your future. Okay, every $100 that you blow on booze at 23 is $1,000 at 33 if you'd invested in your own business and let that money compound with interest. Okay, the damage that you do to your body from poor diet and poor training routines, you're going to feel that shit in your 30s. You're going to wake up and your back's going to hurt and your joints are going to be stiff and your gut health is not going to be there. Every mistake you make in your youth, you pay for with compound interest every single year. But everything you do right, you also get back in compound interest. Okay, I wish I was selling for myself when I was 24 because I could have had clients that are paying me now at 34. I could have had clients paying me for the last decade. You have the opportunity to do that if you get your shit together right now. Okay, if you don't, you're going to be like every other guy living a mediocre life. And as you become an adult and you develop a sensitivity and you start to be able to read people, you'll see the pain in the eyes of guys who are on the subway Monday morning on their workday commute. You'll see it in your friends' unguarded moments when they are married and they have kids and they're unhappy. You'll see it with your family members. You might see it with your father. You'll see it everywhere. And that doesn't have to be you. Okay, you can live a life of abundance. You can live a life of freedom. You can live a life in the sunshine. You can own your own business. You can choose your own time. You can choose your own friendships. You can have, great relationships with multiple different women. You can get in great shape. You can feel healthy every day. You can beat the odds, but you've got to be prepared. And what I want to give you is a game plan for being prepared. Because if you're not prepared, failure to prepare means preparing to fail. Okay? And your 20s are very fucking serious. Very fucking serious. Okay? And they are as serious as a heart attack. Okay? That's how you have to treat your 20s. And what it all comes down to is preparing and following through and not doing what your friends are doing. Okay, you're gonna have to go against the herd. If your friends are partying or smoking weed all the time, you got to go against the grain. Most guys don't take their 20s seriously and they spend their time being depressed or smoking weed or getting drunk and chasing pussy. And then by the end of their late 20s, they think, oh, I really have to get it together. But then you're a decade behind and you've made mistakes and you got to make up for it. And it's really hard to start a business in your 30s because you don't have the same energy. So I'm going to give you 15 rules, and this is going to be a game plan for your 20s if you internalize this. And I don't care how many guys are watching this or reading this or listening to this. If I just get through to one of you guys, then this is completely worth my time. I almost feel like my entire website is worth it if I just get through to one of you. If I can get through to one of you right now and let you live the 20s that I wish that I lived and avoid the mistakes that I made, then my mission is accomplished. Okay, that's how serious I am. So without further ado, let's get started. Point number one, start a business. The worst thing that can happen to you is not failing in business. It's failing to try. It's not starting a business. It's not even fucking trying because you're too scared. If you don't try and start a business, you're accepting mediocrity because you can't live the life that you want to when you work under fluorescent lights in an office 50 hours a week, and you got to do what someone says. You got to ask for permission to go to the bathroom and vacations, and you can't make good money if you work for someone else. Very few guys make over $100,000 as an employee unless you've gone through a decade of school and you're a lawyer, doctor, or whatever. And even then, you're working 70, 80 hours a week. It's just not worth it. Anyone who's wealthy and successful has his own business. And more importantly, if you want to own your own time, I can come and go as I please. I can take my bike, my motorcycle up to the mountains, drive through the mountains of Thailand, or spend an afternoon in bed with a girl, or go for beers with my friends at 1 o'clock on a weekday, because I own my own time. And that is incredibly, incredibly liberating and makes me incredibly happy. And that only comes from business ownership. So you've got to start a business, and you've got to do it while you're fucking young, while you're full of energy and piss and vinegar, because you're not going to have the same energy at 34 as you do at 24. And the younger you start, the more energy you're going to have and the better it's going to be. Okay, I started my first business when I was 26, but I didn't really get something off the ground until I started RLD, and I had 4 business failures behind me. But I wish I'd started a business at 18. I wish I didn't even go to university at all, and I wish I started a business right out of the gate. I started selling, and I started, making it happen when I had all that fucking energy. The younger you start your business, the better. And if you fail a few times, it doesn't matter. Your friends are still going to be in university. No one's going to have expectations of you. But when you're in your mid-30s, you have to have some kind of success. You can't sell girls on your potential for the rest of your life. But when you're in your 20s, and the earlier it is, the better. The more times you can fail, the more acceptable it is. No one's caught up in the whole corporate cycle yet, and you've got all the energy and all the fearlessness, and that's when you want to do it, because no one starts. If you don't start a business, if you wait till after 30 to start a business, you're not going to start a business. Okay? After like a decade and a half of the corporate world, I'm the only guy I know who started a business, or who succeeded in having his own business. No one else did. They all got hooked on the paycheck and the suits and the mortgage and the debt and the car and all that. And if you don't think it'll happen to you, don't make that mistake, because you will get caught up in that corporate world. You'll get caught up in being that corporate guy. You got to accept that that's not going to be for you. That working for someone for the rest of your life is not an option, and business ownership is the only option. And it's do or die. Otherwise, you're going to get trapped by the comfortable paycheck. And the older you get, the more fearful, the more complacent you get, the more excuses you're going to have for not starting your own business, and you're not going to fucking do it. No one does it past 30, especially past 35. Guys just talk about doing it, but they stay at the same fucking job. And I looked on LinkedIn before this. All the guys I was working with are still doing it, still doing the same fucking thing. Okay, start a business, and the younger the better. Number 2, start the right business. The right business is a service-based business. Okay, I'm talking about selling real estate, or selling insurance, or selling personal training services. If you live in a first world country, you got to sell expensive services like that. If you're willing to come out to Thailand or Budapest or Poland, you can do programming or web design or copywriting. I know all the guys that I know out in Thailand are living off their service-based business. I'm the only guy I know who lives off a product-based business, and I'm close to 4 years in. And to be honest, I got lucky with this blog. Okay, I'm in the right place at the right time, and I had the right skills. I'm the right age, and I had the know-how of 4 previous business failures before that. Okay, but 90% of product-based businesses fail. I don't know anyone who's got a product-based business. I know a bunch of young guys who came out to Thailand to do a drop shipping course. 90% of them failed and went back home empty-handed. A couple other guys made a bit of money, but they eventually sold their drop shipping and moved into a service-based business to pay the bills. It is very hard to do a product-based business. And even my product-based business now, I'm 4 years in, and I'm making a fraction of what I did in sales. I could live in Toronto, where I'm from, but it wouldn't be that comfortable. I'm I'm very comfortable here in Thailand, but I'm making way less than I could have. If I had started a service-based business 4 years ago selling real estate, I could have been doing $150,000, $170,000 by now with my sales skills. But I wanted to start a website because for me, this is my mission. I'm in it for life. So I know more money's coming in every month and things are always moving up. But it took me till 3 years to turn a profit till I released my first ebook. And the only reason I'm willing to put up with that kind of a return is because I'm building an empire from day one. I'm in this for life, and I'm going to be doing this 10 years from now, 15 years from now, and the money will roll in. But an online product-based business like this takes a long fucking time to pay off because traffic is based on time and all kinds of different factors, and you need to master so many disciplines. It is not for rookies, and it's not going to pay the bills for you. Okay, I paid my bills with my sales job, and I banked a ton of cash, and then I came out here after the business had already started making me passive income, and now I got enough passive income to live on. But like I said, all those other factors, it's just not the right move for you. Start that service-based business. Okay, you can be operational, making money, making good money 3 months from now. Okay, in the article I break down my buddy Phil. Phil was a personal trainer. He never worked a job. Then he moved his personal training business online and started selling fitness marketing services to other personal trainers. He moved out here to Chiang Mai with me, and um, he moved out to Thailand to accommodate the dip in income that he had from moving his business online. But over the last 6 months, he's recovered all his income, moved it online, is now doing six figures online with a service-based business, and also is moving into productizing his knowledge in two different fitness-specific niches. Okay, not bad for a guy who's only 27 years old. And his path is 100% applicable to every single one of you. Every single one of you could have followed that path if you had the willpower and the drive to do it. Okay, that is 100% applicable. And Phil's never had to work a job in his life. Phil's a guy who did it right from day one, and every single one of you has the opportunity to do that if you are serious about it.